Alright, so now we look at higher order partial derivative. So higher order partial derivative are denoted by the order in which of differentiation occurs. Okay, so let the function here is z. So z is a function of x and y, has the following second partial derivative. So untuk higher order partial derivative ni, ia adalah berapa kali differentiation itu berlaku ataupun berapa kali pembezaan itu berlaku. Kalau dia berlaku 2 kali, so kita panggil sebagai second order. If the differentiation occurs 3 times, so we call it as a third order. Kalau 4 times, it's a fourth order. Macam tu. So, the meaning of order or the higher order, it means that the number of differentiation occurs. Okay, itu maksudnya. Alright, so now look at this one. So, untuk yang ini, second partial derivative means that this one, differentiation occurs 2 times, 2 kali. Okay, so bila macam mana kita nak tahu berapa banyak order yang dia buat ataupun berapa banyak kali differentiation itu berlaku, you lihat di sini. Kalau XX means that it is about 2 times ataupun twice. So we call it as a second order. Okay, so for second order we have f derivative respect to x and x. Okay, so this means that first step we need to differentiate respect to s on f, and the next step we differentiate for x on the derivative respect to x. So maknanya jawapan yang you dapat dalam first order ni, we need to differentiate for once again. Okay, so kita akan dapat second order. Okay, so this is a notation for second order. Del squared f over del x squared. So this means that second order partial derivative respect to x. Okay, and then we have another notation ataupun this one. So first order derivative respect to x, and then we differentiate for the second order on the derivative respect to x. Yang ini. So maknanya selepas you dah differentiate, you differentiatekan lagi respect to x. Okay, so ini adalah memberi maksud yang sama lah. Kalau you letak f sub x ni, kita tahu lah this one is about second order. Okay, so next we have f derivative respect to x and y. So this one is a mixed partial derivative where we differentiate for x for the first time and for the second derivative with respect to y. Okay, so yang ini you differentiate respect to x and then you differentiate respect to y. Okay, so maknanya for the second order it is respect to y. And next we have derivative respect to y and x. So this one we differentiate respect to y first and then followed by the derivative respect to x on the partial derivative respect to y. Okay, so I letak number dekat sini untuk first we differentiate respect to y, and next we differentiate respect to x. Okay, so these are the notation for second order derivative respect to y and x. And the last one, we differentiate respect to y. So means that for the first order, we differentiate respect to y, and the second order, we differentiate respect to y again. So this one is a second order partial derivative respect to y. Okay. Alright, so let's look at this example 6. So finding second partial derivative. So find the second partial derivative of the given function. So we have this function 3xy squared minus 2y plus 5x squared y squared. Okay. Alright, so before we find the second order, of course we need to find the first order. So kalau you tak differentiate untuk first time, you tak boleh dapat second lah. Itu dia punya rule. Alright, so first step we need to find the derivative respect to x on the given function. So this is our function. So differentiate respect to x, y remain as a constant. Okay, as usual, y remain as a constant. So yang ni kita differentiate respect to s on 3xy squared. So we have 3y squared, and the first term, this one is about 2y. So 2y is a constant, so we have 0. And for the third term, we have 5x squared y. So differentiate respect to x On 5x squared y, we have 10x. 2 times 5, we have 10. X to the power of 2 minus 1. Bila differentiate power dia tolak 1 So kita akan dapat x and then y squared. So y squared is a constant. So bila multiply, constant tu still ada Cuma tambah tolak dia akan jadi kosong. Okay, so now we have a first order derivative respect to x on the given function. It is about 3y squared plus 10xy squared. Okay, so next we find the derivative respect to respect to y on the given function. Okay, so bear in mind x remain as a constant. Okay, so we differentiate respect to y on 3xy squared. So here we have 6xy. And differentiate respect to y on negative 2y. So differentiate yang ini. Then we have negative 2. And we differentiate respect to y on the last term, which is 5x squared y squared. We have 10x squared y. Okay, so therefore, partial order derivative respect to y, partial derivative with respect to y is 6xy minus 2 plus 10x squared y. Okay, so ini adalah partial derivative respect to y. Okay, so next, second order partial derivative respect to x on the given function. It is about a derivative respect to x on the first order derivative respect to x. Okay, so first you need to differentiate respect to x. Then you akan dapat jawapan yang ini. And for the second order, we differentiate respect to x on 3y squared plus 10xy squared. Okay, yang ini. Alright, so you differentiate respect to x. As usual, y remain as a constant. So yang ini akan dapat kosong. And for the second term, we have 10y squared. So this is the answer. Alright. So untuk second order, first order, we differentiate respect to y. Respect to x. So jawapan ni, you differentiatekan lagi on x. Okay, you differentiatekan lagi on x. Dan kita akan dapat jawapan yang ini. Okay. Alright, so next, second order partial derivative respect to y. So for the first step, we differentiate respect to y on the given function. Yang ni kita dapat kat atas tu. So kita dapat 6xy minus 2 plus 10x squared y. And for the second order ataupun for second time, we differentiate respect to y on the first order derivative respect to y. So kita differentiatekan sekali lagi ke atas y. Then kita akan dapat jawapan yang ini. 6x plus 20x squared. So this is the answer for second order partial derivative respect to y. Okay. And then next, this one is about mixed partial derivative. Okay, so derivative, second order, the partial derivative respect to x and y. So it is about a partial derivative respect to y on the first order, which is partial derivative respect to x. Okay, so nak tengok order dia yang first ni. Bila yang first ni maksudnya dia yang dululah, which is derivative respect to x. So it means that you need to differentiate respect to x first and then you differentiate respect to y. Okay, so this one we differentiate respect to x. For the first time, we have 3y squared plus 10xy squared. And then for the next step, we differentiate respect to y on 3y squared plus 10x squared xy squared, then we have this answer. Right, so therefore, partial derivative respect to x and y is 6y plus 20xy. Okay, and the last one, it is about a partial derivative respect to y and x. So for this one, we differentiate respect to y. And we have this one, 6xy minus 2 plus 10x squared y. And for the second step, we differentiate respect to x. Okay, on sy minus 2 plus 10x squared y. So here we have this answer. Okay, so differentiate respect to s on 6xy, we have 6y. Differentiate respect to s on negative 2, we have 0. And differentiate respect to s on 10x squared y, we have 20xy. So we have this answer. Alright, so based on this experiment, we identified that for the mixed order, which is derivative respect to x and y, it is equivalent with the partial derivative respect to y and x. Okay, jawapan dia sama. So kita boleh katakan for the mixed for the second order mixed partial derivative respect to x and y are equivalent, whether it is x and come followed by y ataupun you start with y and followed by x, so dia akan memberi jawapan yang sama. Okay. Right, so that one is about example 6.